everyone. Welcome to another awesome day of FileMaker training. I am Richard Carlton, the creator of FMTrain.tv, where every day is an exciting FileMaker day, and it's a little bit of a herky-jerky launch start today because we were getting, yesterday was such a good day. We're doing a pickup of the conversation from yesterday, and I wanted to prep and make sure everything was good to go. Because one thing about training, when it gets a little more advanced, I need to be explaining stuff, and I sometimes can't spend the mental cycles to untangle those things. It's one of those things that, like go-to related records we're going to talk about today a little bit. It's one of those sort of things that you have a little bit of mental gymnastics to go through. Some of you wanted to see how that would work out today, so I wanted to make sure that the demo was preset and ready to go. So if we take a look at the broadcast schedule, so today is day 2 of mechanical coding. It's really excellent. Next week is going to be more of the same. Mechanical scripting today. So yesterday, last time on Battlestar Galactica, on the episode, we were discussing a couple things. So let's dive into my documentation here real quick. I update this as I go because this becomes the training curriculum moving forward. The idea is that you have a need for something that FileMaker is going to do, right? You have a need, and you don't know how to script it because it's overwhelming. The concept is that you're going to pretend that your coworker has called you and asked you for help to do it because they don't have time for you to write a script. You have to tell them how to do it right now. If you can get on the phone and walk them through doing it right now, you're 90% of the way there. All you have to do is pretend that you're on the phone with your coworker and you're going to tell them what to do, except you're going to be telling FileMaker Pro what to do step by step, right? And so it's this baby step for processes. Pretend a coworker is calling you. You're going to walk through the process, and the way you do it initially is to write out the problem. The problem is yesterday we wanted to duplicate an invoice, and then these are the steps that you would tell the coworker what to do. So you pretend like you're talking to them, and then after you do that, you take these same ideas and you go to a script and you do with basic plain English programming. Probably doesn't translate well into German or something like that if Ruben's here, some of you other folks are here. But if you have a different language, whatever the idea is plainly spoken or plainly said verbiage, right? And so, like if you want to print in FileMaker, the command isn't 3151XXX. It's print. Well, so I took a screenshot of the script that we did yesterday. This file is available if you folks want it. And it's one of those deals where I'm kind of updating the file, but unlike some people whose last names rhyme with Hunter, I want to make sure that you all get the sample file, right? So we are working to get Nick on the schedule as soon as possible. Some of you had topic suggestions for him, and he's taking those into account and coordinating with Margaret, getting that going. So this is a script that we created yesterday. So the idea with duplicating the invoice, if we remember, is we assumed that we were on the invoice we want to duplicate. We duplicate it, then we capture the invoice ID, which was important. Then we popped a new window, and we did a find for the line items. Now, a couple things we want to do in here before we get to involved with the go to GTRR is a little bit of error trapping. So if I go over here to FileMaker, I'm going to pop open this copy right here, which is a copy of Light. We did discover a couple bugs yesterday. Those have been reported to the authorities. I'm not the authority. Well, I'm like the supervising authority. So we're in invoices, and one of the things that popped up as a reminder is that the tools menu here is only available if you go to FileMaker, you go to settings, and you come down to use advanced tools. This computer we're on right now is actually a Mac Studio, so it's a higher end computer. And it was a new install FileMaker, and a little bit ago, I was like, where's the debugger, right? And the debugger wasn't there because I had to turn this on, restart FileMaker. Just keep that in mind for those of you who are new to the platform. I'm going to make myself a little smaller down here in case we need more space. So the idea with the script is that we would run the script with the script debugger and go through this process. Now, here is one of the overriding things is that anytime you perform a find, or certain key actions in FileMaker are prone to generating errors because either you're dumb or I'm dumb or the end users who's using your product are putting you in a situation where you didn't expect to be. And so I'm not complaining, no one's dumb, but you get the idea is that, like just a little bit ago, I did a go-to related record and there were no related records. I was being dumb. That happens all the time. So you need to, so these, what I call high danger points, you need to make sure you put air trapping in there for high danger points. Okay. You don't have to put air trapping in there for every last thing because, every last, like if I want to create a new record, right? You could trap for an error behind that. Maybe the user is not allowed to create a new record, right? They don't have the authority to do that. Yes, I guess, but the idea is that I'm looking for the high traction areas that are concerning to us. So these are the new scripts right here that we've been playing with. This one down here is the GTR one. We're going to kind of work through that together. This is the one I can use to cheat if I need to see the answers at the end because I wanted to make sure it was working correctly. So yesterday, first we had a script that would create the line items and it created them in basically in inverse order. And the idea was that to duplicate and omit, remember the little trick with omitting? And Margaret, if Butterflies and Bugs pops up, oh, Butterflies and Bugs is here. Butterflies and Bugs,
Yes.
We are scheduling a live stream just for you. No one else is allowed to come to this. That's a joke. But it's going to be very, like we're doing cookie cutter stuff here, like step 1, have a problem. Step 2, can you explain it to a coworker on the phone how to solve the problem? Step 3, write the script. Very cookie cutter. We're going to do the same thing with Anchor Buoy for you. I got into an argument with Margaret this morning that I told her we'd already done this like 5 times, and she told me that we had not done it in the way that I think we had done it. So to satisfy Margaret, who was like your attorney in the meeting, I told her, yeah, we've done this. She said, no, we haven't, not in the way that Butterflies and Bugs is thinking about it. So we're going to be doing a live stream just for you in a week and a half, Margaret, 2 weeks, something like that?
End of not next week, week after next. Yeah, 2-ish weeks, I think. So
about 2 weeks, somewhere, not next week, but the week after. We'll book into there. So just so you know, and it's going to be step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. As a reminder for Butterflies and Bugs and everyone else here, some of all the materials that we're shooting in the live stream, you get it for free, but if you want to jump and get the answers you need immediately and you don't want to wait for the next 10 days to occur or 14 days or whatever it is, you can always go to our bundle section of our website and purchase one of the bundles because that material is in there, right? So where we go through it. These are very short, succinct videos. They don't have a lot of interaction with you and live questions. So in some ways it's better. It's more succinct, it's faster, but you don't get to ask questions. So in this situation, you get to ask questions, which is the bonus. So, but you also, if you support the channel, this is how you support the channel and just renew the subscription. One of these 3 subscriptions is greatly appreciated. So here is the deal with this right here. So we came down here yesterday and we would do this. The only part that was kind of a little thoughtful and tricky was that as we find the line, we would be on the invoice. Let's talk about it. We go to the invoice. We would duplicate the invoice. But that if you just duplicate the invoice as a reminder of the problems we had yesterday, if I go records, I say duplicate record, it duplicates the parent record, it doesn't duplicate the child. So then you have to find a way of duplicating the child's. And what we determined is that we would pop a new window, we would go to invoices and the line items that are over here. We would then do a find for the invoices say that are up, the line items that are up here, but yet to find those line items. So I would copy that into a variable. We come over here, we would do a find command, it's in the script, and we would have these 3, then we would duplicate them and then change the invoice that would belong to, right? So we would duplicate, like we would come to the bottom, we would duplicate this one and then change it to the new invoice number like this. And so this one is going to go to the new invoice. This is the original invoice. So I'm on here, then I do an omit, which removes it from my found, from the found set or the list I'm working on. So I have to, so I omit it, the new one goes away. I've already processed this when I duplicate already, so I don't have to worry about it anymore. So I omit that one too, right? So then I'm down to 2. So I duplicate this one, and then we would give it the new number, right? And then, so that's the new one, that's the old one. Those are processed and handled, so I would omit this one and omit the next one. And that's kind of this process that goes on. That's going to stay the same. However, Jesse and some of the advanced people here are going, yeah, but we use go-to related record. So before we get to that, let's just talk about where the errors are going to happen. So if we're in the original script from yesterday, this is the first one, right, which had the omits, 2 omits back to back. The errors are going to happen anytime you do a like you send an email, it's an action that could fail, that has a high probability of failing. A find command has a high probability of failing. Creating a new record or duplicating a record don't have high probabilities of failings. I don't generally error trap after those, okay? But like right here, what we did is we went to the line items and we did this search. We told the person, do a search for the invoice. And so we end up performing these 3 steps right here because it's easy to read it. Enter find mode. Set this field. Basically, it's like a copy paste. You copy that invoice, you paste it in here, you perform the find. That find commands are highly susceptible to failing, okay? So to do the error capture here, we would say set error capture on. Okay, I'm just doing this, everyone has this. And so that what error capture on simply means that it's going to suppress pushing a error dialog to the user. So it captures it so the user doesn't see it. I guess you could think of it that way. And so it suppresses, more of a suppress the error so the end user doesn't see it. We need to see it as a developer with a script. The end user who's running this in the future shouldn't see it. If they're going to get an error message, we want to give them the error message so it says exactly what we want it to say. Right here is where you're going to generate the error. As a reminder, the way errors work, the FileMaker system will only return to you the last immediate error that occurred. So if I have a find, say for example, I do a find here. And then say for, and I'm just going to make this bigger. And then say for some reason we do another find down here, okay? And I duplicate this. So there's 2 finds for, I'm going to get rid of these momentarily here, but just an example, this will generate an error. Anywhere in here, I can detect, if I put code in there, I can detect the error. As soon as I do the next error down here, this error in here, I can detect that error. Once I've created a new error, I cannot go backwards in time and capture the previous, your second best error, right? It's like second, the Hobbits and the Lord of the Rings, second breakfast. Well, we're going to now have second error? No, we're not having second. What about third error that was up here? No, you can't go that far back. So you have to deal with them immediately. Just keep that in mind. So how do we trap for the error? We say if statement, so there's an if. So if get, there's a get function. This is one of those things we always talk about. Me going to college as an engineer, my physics tutor told me, his name was Bill Sutcliffe, really great guy. He told me if there was an important formula that was going to come back, he said tattoo it to your, don't lose it. Get last error is a tattoo to your get function, and if you're a FileMaker developer. If the error is equal to 401, is a failed find, okay? Alternatively, I do it this way because that's kind of precise. Alternatively, you could say if the get found count, this is also, if the found count is 0, which means no records were found, so you have a window popped up on screen that there are no records in the found set 0. There might be 1 million records, but your found count is 0. Normally, you can't get to a found count of 0 as a normal user, but if you turn error capture on and you do a find, FileMaker will let you have a found count of 0. So if you say the found count is 0, you say, oh man, you basically tried to duplicate an invoice with no line items. Technically, remember we said Stan was the person who called us who needed help. So Stan, Jesse, what do I do? What do I do? Birds and butterfly, what do I do? I don't know how to duplicate. Okay, you're going to go in here, you're going to do this, you're going to do this, you're going to do this, you'll walk them through it. And so they're like, well, I got to duplicate this invoice. There are no line items. Okay, well, I guess it's valid to say that you could duplicate invoice with no line items. That'd be okay, right? So what we would do is if the found count 0, then we basically are done. We're basically done. Does that make sense? So if we're done, what we're going to do is we assume we want, right here it says, assume we're on the original invoice we want to duplicate. Then we duplicate it down here. Now we assume we are on the new invoice, right? Okay. And then right here, we pop a new window and we pop a new window, so we're on a new window, and we have a found set of 0. So what we want to do here is we want to close the window, because we popped a window to duplicate the line items, right? We would do that, and then down below, after we're done duplicating, we'd close the window right here. So I'm going to close the, wait a minute, hang on. I wrote, that's not close window. That was close data. See, close window at the bottom, okay? Close window, and then I'm on the new, if I close the window, okay, I'm going to say pop up a window to show us the line items we need to duplicate. Okay, so there's a little comment. So then, but then we determine with a found set of 0 that there are no items to duplicate. So I'm going to put a comment right here. It's like, damn, no line items to duplicate, something like that. No, there we go, no. Okay, save. So then we close the window, and then probably we want to stop the script. So we might say show dialog. You wouldn't want to do this because it drive people nuts. This is where we have another show where we talk about transient notifications. You'd probably throw up a little message on screen that would fly off the screen that would say, yep, all done. You're on your new invoice. Done, whatever, okay? So you've completed it. Maybe we put the beep in there. Close window, beep, throw that, and then we would tell the script to stop the script, S-T-O-P. There's no such thing as stop script. It's called exit script or halt script, but we'll just say exit script, okay? So the thing stops right here, okay? So the whole script would just come to a grinding halt right here. I'm going to copy that. I put a bunch of these in there so I know it's like going to stop right there. Maybe right there I'll do put the section right here, and then that way I have really nice visual cues as to like I'm in sections of the code. Now we're going to let's duplicate the line item. So that's the error trapping on here. Okay, does that make sense? So get rid of this, get rid of this, get rid of this. So then down below here, I can take that done dialog and park it down here at the bottom. I think there's a beep down here, beep and done, right? So it does the same thing, but up here, no line item, so it's going to stop. Otherwise, it's going to run the line items down here, right? Makes sense? So if I save this, I'm on this one right here. I'm going to come over here. It's going to duplicate the line items for us. I'm going to say press play. Done, and we're on the new one at the very bottom with the line items. Okay, but if I'm on one of these that has no, like these were test ones I was doing earlier, let's call it Jessie's Animal Rescue, because she rescues dogs. Rescue, okay. She's such a nice person. So we have Jessie's Animal Rescue right here. If I go back to invoices, well, that's not what I wanted. Can I actually, damn it. Get rid of. Oh, it attaches to account. Yeah, I don't need that level of sophistication. This is a chat. There's that. There we go. Let's do that. Contact. There we go. All right. So we have none on here. We run the same script. We hit play. Says done, but exit over here. You could make a note over here since the messages were nearly identical. That wasn't the most helpful thing. Done. No line items to dupe. Okay. Save. Once again, I'll duplicate this one here again. We'll run it one more time. 1, 2, 3, run. No lines to dupe. So yeah, that's where it exits right there. So any questions on basic error trapping? Okay. Yes, no? Yes, no?
I don't see any questions at the moment, so.
That's the only way I understand. I love the intro. Yes. Okay. Tattoo to your butt. Yeah, no, exactly. Those are the important things in life. All right. So let's talk about go-to related records. So in our code that we built in here, we basically duplicate the parent record, which is the invoice. Remember, and this goes for estimates or invoices or anything. we are on the parent record. We duplicate that. The duplicate command in FileMaker only applies to the like a strict duplicate, like this command right here. Only it's totally context sensitive. So if you're whatever layout you're on, whatever record you're on, it's going to duplicate that one record in that layout on that underscoring table, right? Table occurrence table. Makes sense? So, but an invoice is a parent record and zero or more child records, right? So that's what we ran into. So down here, we do a find. Now, the more sophisticated developers can take this script and what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here and I'm going to put RC prep. I'll call this RCC prep. Okay, we're going to not look at that. We're going to do this one right here. We're going to work on this together. Okay, shall we work on it together? Are we good with that?
Yes. Wait, I have a dumb question.
Go with Roger Tower. Go for dumb question.
If the duplicate record only duplicates the base table, then why does it duplicate the company account name? Because isn't that account attached to a related table and not the actual?
The field is a merge field right here to a local.
Oh, okay. So it's not actually a related
It's a lookup.
field.
Why would it be a lookup, Margaret, and not a live relationship? We covered this on lookups the other day.
So it doesn't change. So if someone goes and changes the account name for whatever reason, the old invoices are still attached, whatever the previous company name is.
An invoice is a financial transaction. If I sell Boeing, if I sell Boeing parts for or sell parts to Boeing sells something to United, an airplane, and United keeps having problems, so they get bought out by someone, and they change their name to Disenfranchised Pilots Incorporated, not United. We're not United, we're disgruntled, right? The airline is now called Disgruntled Airlines. They changed their name. It doesn't change the fact that the original invoice was sold to a company called United for a specific dollar amount with specific contractual stipulations for specific taxes. I'm sure there's a tax on the damn airplane. Those things are 30, 40, 50 million dollars a piece, whatever they are, right? For a 737, I don't know what the current pricing is on them, but they're pretty expensive. And so the fact that United changes its names to Disgruntled Airways, we don't want the old invoice to change, so that's why we have lookups, right? So this, to be clear on that, it's a historical document. If you have a historical document that you might have to reference in the future, and you don't want to go back to paper where you print it on paper. See, this is one of those deals where the computer needs to mimic paper. Once you print something on a laser printer, generally you're not going to go back and try to find a way of altering that laser printout. It goes in a folder, in a filing cabinet, you kill the tree, whatever, okay? But it's a legal document. When you start talking millions of dollars, that's called motivation with a universal adapter, okay? So millions of dollars is a big deal. And so you want to have a document that's locked in concrete that doesn't change. So that's the important part of this. So
therefore the duplicate records would not have an issue at all because it's a lookup and not a
well, at the time you duplicate it, they might take a fresh snapshot of related data at that point, potentially, but you're creating a new one, right?
Mm-hmm. So, right. Yes. So, of course, it would do it. Yeah, that would make sense.
I sold an airplane to United at 737. They say it's a 737 MAX. All the problems are fixed, and you bolt the windows in and doors in so they don't blow out over Portland. Anyway, so, but yeah, it's scary. So you sell an airplane to United, and they're like, and so meanwhile, the company changed its names like Claris to FileMaker or FileMaker to Claris. We're now called Disgruntled Airways. Okay, cool. We want the same airplane that you sold us 6 months ago or a year ago. We want, we want the same pricing. That's bullshit. Yes, it is. Go back and forth. Argue. Okay, fine. So now they duplicate the invoice from United at Boeing's computer. Boeing's using FileMaker starting point, selling planes on it. Okay. We duplicate the United order, just one plane. And so it looks up and says, oh, it might check and say, oh, it's now Disgruntled Airways. So it changes the name. Doesn't change the original one, but the new one you're creating at that moment in time And then it says, well, there's a 9% sales tax in California on a use tax or sales tax on that airplane. And so it was 7.5%, but it's been a year, and California being what California is, just taxed to everyone. So they're going to have a new tax rate. So so the invoice is a new invoice, but it might take into account, or can easily take into account, changes that would be relevant at that moment in time. It's a snapshot at that moment in time, right? Make sense?
Yes, that makes sense.
Okay, great. Very, very, very important concept. A lot of brand new people don't think about that too much. I mean, starting point, we work it out for you already, but that's the idea. So the GTRR. And so the idea was that you could tell the system, instead of going, so if you step through the script, it duplicates the parent record, then it has to do a find down. It goes to a new window and it performs a find for that invoice. So if we just like, let me just go back up here to the top. Let's step through this, and we're going to watch this happen, and then I'm going to stop the action so everyone knows what I'm talking about. So I'm going to start the script over here. I'm going to tell it to play. This is a script debugger. Everyone has access to script debugger. Okay. Duplicate. Watch up here at the top. I have 14 records. I'm about to have 15 records. Okay. And then it's going to set the variable. Now it's going to pop a new window right here of all the line items, new window. And it's going to perform a find by the invoice number for the line items for the invoice I want to duplicate. Very important, okay? Now it says, is the found count 0? No. Then come on down and duplicate. Now this is a spot where instead of writing an enter find command, you could say go to related record. I tend to do it this way just because it's simpler and it's not really dependent upon a relationship. But you could do it through relationship. Once again, I think if you're just duplicating individual items like this, one-offs, I don't think there's a performance benefit either way on this when you're doing singles. But if you told the FileMaker system to duplicate 10,000 invoices for me and do it right away, then you might want to look at GTRR or other techniques to speed that along, unless you just want to set it and let it run overnight, come back the next morning and it's done. That's fine too. So the idea is to take this piece of code here and comment it out. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop the script from running. That's the original. This is the line items. I'm going to come over to the script. I'm going to duplicate it. We're going to come down here. We're going to call it 1240. We're going to call it duplicate invoice. GTRR live audience, okay? So here's this one here. So these lines, right, the enter find mode right here, did I duplicate? Hang on, there we go. That's where we're supposed to be. I can comment these out. You go to scripts, you go to the disable script step, wherever that's at. Is it right? Disable, there it is, shortcut edit. You can tell the scripts to disable. It means that they're there. They won't run, but you haven't gotten rid of them. You can reactivate them by toggling again. So they're active, they're inactive, active, inactive. So now we're going to pop a new window. I duplicated a whole bunch of stuff here. I screwed that up. Hang on one second. I have 2 finds. Let me get rid of that. There we go. So now this is where we're at. Now I can tell you that the GTRR gives us the ability to spawn a new window when we do GTRR. So go to related record. So let's talk about this real quick. So I'm going to these are the old code right here. I'm gonna leave the old code right here. We're gonna put the new stuff in here. Let's discuss this briefly. What the new stuff is going to be. If I go to File, Manage, Database over here, we jump over here. I hit Relationships. Everyone following? Okay. Now, this is where Butterflies and Bugs was saying Anchor Buoy is too complicated. However, yesterday we were talking about we're on an invoice. We hit Command Duplicate. It duplicates the record that's here. Then we need to somehow find the records, the line items, and duplicate those, okay? And so understand that we're on here. I popped a new window and then did the find manually. That's what I just commented out was the find command to go here to do that manually right here. Make sense? So that's what, of course I can't, being difficult. So that is what that is right there, Okay, pop a new window, enter a find, over here, find the line items, duplicate them. Make sense? So if we don't want to do that, we could go to related record. We're here, show me the related records from over here. To do that, we're going to add a command. I'm going to go ahead and hit OK. Hang on. I'm going to come over here. I'm going to say add a command called go to related record. Okay. And this is a lot. This could be a whole show in itself. This is going to take the rest of the time today to figure this out. So what it's going to do is it's going to find us a related record based from our current location. It doesn't say you're currently located here, find the records from here. That's implied. I'm waving my hands. That is implied. So where were we? Well, first we assume we're on the record one, duplicate, then we duplicate, then we assume we're on the new invoice, and then we need to pop up a window to duplicate. So go to related records. Now there's already a problem here, but we want to go to the related record, but we're on the duplicate. On the new duplicate. Are there any related records on this new duplicate yet, Margaret?
No.
Right, because
it's just a duplicated, so all the stuff from the portal actually hasn't been grabbed and dragged into it yet.
So let's just assume for the moment we're going to set this up. So we're on T12. We're on T12 on invoices, and I want to get the related records through T12J, which was that related one to line items, okay? And we're going to tell it to show the records from the current layout. That won't work. We want to show it from the line items, T12J line items right here, okay? Does that make sense? So we have to have a layout. So here's the fundamental. We're on the invoice data. This is so important. We're on the invoice data entry screen, right? The anchor. Okay, this anchor buoy, butterflies and bugs. We're on the anchor, and we want to jump to the buoy. So that's what this command is doing. So I'll jump to the buoy. When we land on the other side, we have to be on a layout that's attached to that buoy. Layouts are attached to buoys or anchors. It has to be something attached on the other end. Okay. So I'm going to attach it to I have a layout that is attached to that. It says right here, associated table. So I know I'm on T12, because if I go back to the relationship graph over here, which you can't see, I'll bring it up. We're on T12, we have to jump to another T something, okay? Now there are exceptions to this rule. We have another live stream coming up next week called tog hopping. Trust me on this, we'll cover that. That's a more advanced topic. I don't want to get into that. So we're keeping it simple. We're on T12. We're going to T12J. We have to be on a layout that's attached to T12J. Okay, that's this layout right here. So it is. So we know when this script runs that we are on T12. Okay, we know we're on T12. We have to, and so because we know that, we don't have to specify. Then it says get a related record from T12J. If I was on T8 or something like that, this wouldn't work because you can't get a related record that's not related. That makes sense? I mean, you have to, the target of where you're going has to be related. So I'm going to hit OK here real quick. Let me go back over here. I'm going to take a picture of this real quick. So I have this picture. Okay. I'm going to say OK. Are people confused? There's questions, Margaret?
People are so far, I think, hanging in there. Well, Stoic Dog, would you like to clarify what you mean by what?
Okay, let me try this again. So let me write this in the code. So assume we're on the new invoice. Oh, so we're okay. So we're on an invoice. We're on a layout. We are on a layout attached to T12. Okay, are we good with that? So we're here at this moment in time, right? We are on a layout attached to here. That was the data entry for invoices. So we're on this right here. Yes, a layout here. Every last layout that's here, every last one is attached to one of these boxes somewhere in the relational diagram. It must be. Yes. So we're here, which means that if I call at this point in time a GTRR, all these can be targets over here. All these items over here can be targets for that GTRR. What if I'm on a box that nothing's connected to? GTRR cannot target anything else. It can't target a different table occurrence group. Okay, it must target something on your current group. So we assume we're on still here. Down here, we duplicate. Assume we're on the new invoice. We are still, in all capitals, we are still on a layout attached to T12. Okay, we capture the invoice number, then we do a go to related record right here. So we're here, we can go to any of these, but I want to target T12J. I moved it up here to make it identifiable because that's the line items. Do we follow this? This right here is a critical part of go to related record. Okay, we're kind of off the mechanics of scripting this because some of you are like, well, Richard's not very good because he won't do GTRR. Well, this is complicated for new people is the problem. I put in here where we're at. I could actually put the layout name on there if we wanted to, but I just said we're on that. So that means that we can target anything. So we are still on T12. So we can GTRR, go to related record for any T12 connected TO, table occurrence. Okay, makes sense? So we select T12J. We're there, we're targeting T12J. Then we say, pop it in a new window. I'll just call it GTR, pop it in a new window. And use this layout. This layout happens to be attached to T12J. Show only the related records, don't worry about the rest of it. Hit OK. Now, if this works, and we don't get an error, I'm going to put new assumptions right here. Assume we are on a layout that is directly connected to T12J. Yes? Now we have jumped. So we left this in a window. We made a new window with this. Okay, so there'll be two windows over here. There'll be this window, which is the T12 one here, this invoices. And then we're going to pop up that little table view over here, right, with T12J. So I'm going to come over here. I'm going to save this, and I'm going to just I'm just going to stop, cause the script just to halt right here. I just want it to stop. I'm not going to do the script debugger on it. Well, we can, I guess. We could try that. Let's just run the script debugger on it. So we're here. We're on this one here. So there's 3 related records, okay? So we're going to run this, and script debugger is enabled. We're told it to go, run it. So this is the duplicate. I can't spell invoice GTR live audience. Step down. Set the variable. Okay, we're on this one. Now we're going to duplicate. Okay, commit. Now we're on the duplicated one now, right? And then we say go to related records. How many go to related records are over here? Margaret.
There are 3 in total. Wait, but currently there's nothing.
Because
what?
why?
Do you hear me?
I hear you.
Sorry.
Why? Why are there none here? Because what?
We duplicated it, but we're
on the new invoices. So if I go GTRR and there are no related records, what happens?
You'll get an error, right? Or the error will get suppressed?
Error is 101, records are missing. Okay? There's no related record. It should say no related record, okay?
Got it.
So I'm going to stop. So the problem is with our script is that we wanted GTRR from the original invoice.
Yes.
So the problem is, and this is back to kind of trying to keep things simple, I could have millions of records in here. I could be up towards the top, like somewhere in here, and then when I duplicate it, it'll be down at the very bottom. And so how do I tell it to go back? So we duplicate, which is great. We capture the information about the duplicated deal. Now we need to tell it to go back to the original one and then do the GTRR to continue. Well, how do you tell it to go back? Well, there's no go back to the we were just on command.
I mean, would you have to make like a new loop and then do a new window and then GTRR and then...
What I'm going to do is to make this simple is that we are here. And in our process, we script things, we're going to omitting things and doing things. We don't want to mess with the user's current window. Because what I really want to do is narrow the records down to only the original invoice and the new invoice.
Oh, so yes, you could just do a find. So you only are staring at the.
You could, but then you would script the person's screen.
Oh.
I had a really complicated find over here, and I ran Margaret's script, and it wiped out my find. I spent, it was like, show me California, omit Illinois, and then add all the tax 501c3s from Florida.
Well, so no matter what, you're doing a new window then, so you don't screw with the original window.
Correct. Whenever you're about to manipulate the found set, you don't want to screw the user up. We have to pop a new window. So at the very beginning of our script, we're going to just create a new window, which is a duplicate. Basically, it says new window, but this could be duplicate the window. Whenever you run a new window command, it's basically duplicate the window. Okay. Then I'm going to now we duplicate the window. I'm going to move these down here. Okay. Assume we are on the invoice we want to duplicate. We're still attached to T12. So if we're on the one we want to duplicate, right? I need to isolate that into its own found set. Now you could grab the number. You could grab the number and perform a find, or because right now we don't know the found set or the sort state. We have no idea. Okay. So what I would do is I would say, well, if I tell it to show all the records, I'm still going to be on the invoice I've been on, but I'm seeing all the records. That's what a show all command is, right? Like if I come over here and I omit a bunch of these, okay, I'm on Richard's, I'll just let that play through. So what I want to do is I want to get rid of that. Turn the hidden everyone just disregard what I'm doing here. Okay. I want to notate these as being slightly different. All right. So we're on all the invoices. Okay. If I'm only on, say like I'm going to omit some right here. That was me doing that. Everyone disregard. I'm on this invoice right here and we'll call it, garbage pail kids or something, right? Okay, garbage pail kids. Okay, so there's garbage pail kids here. If I tell the system to show all records, show all records, I am still on garbage pail kids. Make sense? So what I want to do with my script, and I hopefully I haven't just confused the living out of absolutely everyone here, is that I don't know how many records in the found state, but I want the garbage pail kids by itself. Does that make sense? I want them by themselves. Show all records, omit garbage pail kids, show omitted.
Wait.
Yep, I know.
Show
all the records. So I'm on garbage pail kids. I show all the records.
Yes.
And so there's nothing that's not.
Oh, okay. You're omitting the single one, which therefore, when you hit show omitted only, you're going to be on the single record that you
isolating
want to be
garbage pail
on.
kids by itself.
Yes. Okay. I had to process the logic of that for a second.
Yes. This saves you from having to do a find and doing error capture on the find. But see, this is a GTR. People are like, you should use GTR. Yeah, kind of. But we're having to do a lot of to support it. Okay. In this situation. Okay, so now we have isolated. So now I can come over here. We have isolated the invoice we want to duplicate into its own found set and on its own layout, own window. Okay, yes. So now that we've done that, we could say so then we duplicate it. Now we're on the new invoice. So we do that. Now we tell it to go to record request previous. So we duplicate it, then we're on the garbage pail kids. We're going to watch this, show all Show all records right there. It's not selected. If I run it and it's not selected, it'll just do it anyway. Okay, just so you know. So there's no error. If you're already showing all and you say show all, it's no, there's no harm, no foul, no penalty. It's just going to do it. It'll just skip it. Okay, show all records. Then I say omit garbage pail kids, and I'm seeing things happen over here. I'm not going to look at them. Then I'm going to say records show omitted only. So now I've isolated garbage pail kids, right? Then I'm going to tell it, then we're back to our previous track. We're going to tell it to duplicate it, garbage pail kids to the sequel, okay? And then we're going to tell it to, now remember, go to related record. We don't care about this. We want to go back. Now we run the go to related record. Yes?
Yes, that makes sense.
An easier way to isolate that is to find matching records minus get record ID. If you want to execute, yeah, you're executing a find, I guess. Would you do, but see, I don't write things in one line. So it's an inner find mode. Okay, so, I'm gonna bring that one back on a different day, Ed. Ed's got an interesting thing. I think the line of lines of code will be about the same, Ed, because you have to enter a find mode, you have to set, then you have to do the omit, then you have to perform. It's actually, I think, more lines of code technically, but they're both useful. Either way, we need to isolate. The whole trick, the main part to understand here is not so much how you do it, is that you had to pop a new window, isolate it, duplicate it, then we can do the GTRR. So what we're going to do is we're going to save this. I'm going to come over here. I'm going to Command J. I'm going to be on garbage pail kids. We got 4 records. I'm going to set the script debugger to enable. Okay. We're going to run the command scripts. If I come over here, let me just run live audience play. Okay. Step. So error trapping on. Pop a new window. It's a duplicate window command. Okay. Now there's a trigger that fired. Hopefully it doesn't do anything to screw me up. Then I ran another script. Okay, so now we're back. Remember, there are triggers in it. Now there are 2 windows. Okay, right, Margaret? Show all records. Omit the ones. You'll see it go down to 15. Now, show me all omitted. Now I'm on the 1. Okay. Now we're going to do the stuff from yesterday. Set the variable. Duplicate it. So this will be garbage pail kids to the sequel. I'm just going to, I think I can edit this in between the script steps here. Okay, come back over here. Commit it. Set the variable for the new one. Go to the previous record. Now, here comes the holy grail. Does it work? Okay, step down. There's our 3rd window. So our process is spawning windows as needed to do the work. And then if I skip over the halt, you could come down here and you would check to see if there's an error condition or not. And then it does the whole dedupe. This is all the same from yesterday. So this is the difference. This is the difference. So you had to do a GTRR, but the GTRR has to be fired against the original invoice, okay? So Ed is saying that alternatively, so we have this this show omitted thing right here. I'm going to go ahead and tell it to stop and close. And so when it's done, you would then, the last couple script steps are close that window and close that window and then go to the very last invoice down here. And there's your, that would be your garbage pail kids with duplicated. Okay, we didn't let it duplicate all the way out. If I go to live audience, I'm going to remove that. What Ed's saying is that, well, the other way of doing the show me a found set omitting the current item. So I'm going to comment these out here. So I got 3 lines of code. Okay. And if I say enter find mode, and Ed knows he's about to complain that I'm penalizing him, I don't write find commands that are buried in a line where you can't read them. I write them out so they're readable. So you have perform find. Okay, so we know the inner find mode, perform find, and then you're going to have error trapping. So although it shouldn't, whenever I perform find, I always do error capture because I'm afraid the find will fail, but it'd be pretty hard for the find to fail. So I don't know. So then Ed says, set the field. What was Ed's code? His comment there was
It was isolate the record by finding the matching records and then.
Hey Ed, if you're going to set this, how do you set the record ID? Right, you'd have to be a field in there, right? So
Like a set variable for the record ID, I guess.
yeah, I guess I could capture. Move this up here. So let's capture the ID of the invoice. Then we could say, yeah, I guess we could say set field. Yeah. So okay. So Ed just whooped out a yeah. So yeah, I'm not going to go down that road, Ed, because that's more than what I want to train brand new people on. Because that there's so Ed just showed a line of code. It's like that old show. I can name that. There used to be a show. They'd play part of a song, like Superman, da, 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 and someone would say, "I can name that song. That's Superman theme by John Williams or something," right? And then they would in the game show they'd go back and forth of how they could name that song with fewer notes. So that's sometimes the FileMaker developers get into this where you have like 12 lines of code and I can name that in one line of code. I can do everything you just did there. Nick did this to me the other day. And I'm like, dude, you can't train people on that, right? It did like 8 or 10 things in one line of code. But if you're training people, Ed's a much more advanced developer, I think, than what I'm doing today, right? I think, in fact, I know he is, right? So he's a famous programmer on the East Coast, fire marshal, and he does all that. So he is quite good. However, he was able to, if you can do a perform find, and what you do is you come in here and you specify the results and you put in all sorts of formula, and the formula is this, and the formula is this, and the formula is this, and you hit OK, and you end up with one line. And you see this, and it doesn't tell you what the command is. You just know that there's a find going on there. If we do it this way over here, where we set, like down here where we said we performed a find here, you can say, hey, it's doing a find on this field with this string. So that's why I expose it. I take off the close, or we take the the close off of FileMaker and show you what's under the hood, right? So you understand, you learn from that. So yeah, Ed, I had not seen that specific trick, so you taught me something I didn't know. So that's good. Anyway, yeah, so that's the idea with this. So GTR is functional. It works, but I had to do a couple things to support it, and I had to be a really good, so bugs and butterflies and some of the brand new people, in order to do GTR, you have to be like Jesse does GTRs and things like that. It's a more advanced skill set. But I showed you how to solve it without that, right? I showed you how to solve the basic script from yesterday with, if I come back over here, duplicate, audience, new window, then set variable. Okay, I'm going to re-enable these so they're active. Okay, so just for fun, I'm going to test Garbage Pail Kids. That's 2. That's the sequel. I'm going to delete that record. I'm going to go back to the top where we have Garbage Pail Kids, the single. Oh, yeah, we popped another window over here. So we popped a new window, and then we popped a new window there. So we're going to close. Then we're going to close again, 2 window closes, right? Because if you pop, we have 3 windows open. We need to close. I just did it again. We need to close the windows. And you could comment which ones you're closing. Close window, then we would go to the bottom record. No such thing as go to bottom record. So what do we do, Margaret? We lost Margaret. Go to record, request.
Yes, last.
Right, yep.
Sorry. No, I was muted and talking.
I'm going to say set, and I'm going to set field of the invoice on the account. Set it equal to itself. Account. Account name. And I'm going to add quote 2 to it. Does that make sense? Oh, yeah, will that work? I think it will. Yeah, it escaped out the quote. That's another thing we could do. All right, so I'm going to run this real quick. So it should create Garbage Pail Kids 2, the sequel. 1, 2, 3. And it didn't do it. What did I do wrong? Go to related records, found count, done. Go to, I guess we have to step through it to watch it. Get to the top of the hour. I'm sorry that's what happens. We have a script debugger. So I'm gonna get rid of what's that?
I'm just laughing. It's the nature of script debugger. It's wait, what happened here?
That's a clue. It duplicated and didn't set them to the new value. So let's see.
So wait, it put it in the original and not the new child?
Right. Yeah, so first we have a new window, then we isolate it. We got the value there, and then we get the value, then we isolate. Yeah, I could move the isolation back here. Let's move it back down here. It doesn't particularly matter. Duplicate with the record, commit the record. Then there's the new one, and then go to record previous, then go to related record. Oh, in a new window. No, that's the one we want, new window. Okay. Then down here, oh, the context is changed from yesterday. We hog hopped yesterday by accident. We got to go back to, we wasn't setting it. We have to set it to the correct. Remember, I always say when your script quits working, it's mostly context. We're in the wrong context. We had jumped from T12 to T13. We should still be on. Remember, we jumped GTR. We're on T12. We're going to jump to T12J. So everything that we do down here has to be T12J related, right, Margaret?
Oh, wait, and the set fee. Okay, yes, that makes.
Okay.
Well,
okay, stop. If I'm on here and I say go to related record and I'm over here, can I set a field when I'm here set to T13? Unless it's a global field, no. Globals, you can go anywhere, but I can't from here on a layout to here set anything that's not T12. It has to be T12 somehow.
Got it. Okay, so you can't actually go duplicate the line items in T. Well, that would make sense. Yeah.
Yeah. There's kind of a interesting little bounce that we did yesterday, quite by accident. It worked, so no one complained and caught it, but you have to stay in context. So I called some code that wasn't in the context. If I say set T5 on the contact information or whatever T5 is, no, I can't do that. If I want to set contacts or whatever, I'd have to go through T12 Bravo right here. There's contacts right there. I can't jump to some other place in a set field command. The set field only has access to the current table occurrence group, the T12 group. Once again, for butterflies and bugs, if you're still here, hopefully you are. This is why the table occurrence groups are so important, because that limits you. It also, because you don't connect everything together, it doesn't cause a giant performance problem. Okay. So let me try this again. And I fixed it. I'm going to save it. I'm going to close this. I'm going to come back over here. I'm going to delete that and delete the skunks free helicopter ride. We don't want that. Delete that. Delete that. Delete that. So we have our 12 again, right? Garbage Pail Kids. Okay, 2. So we're going to be on here. We're going to say run the script. 1, 2, 3. Done. We're on Garbage Pail Kids 2. And we have the duplicated item. Were there only 3 of them on Garbage Pail Kids?
Yes, there was only 3. So.
The order flipped again on that. That's a different
issue. Yeah. That's that issue again.
We know how to fix it. We fix it yesterday.
Yes.
So it's a little bit more advanced today. It's not so much about the mechanical stuff other than to show people that go to relate, but everything ties together. Like understand, if you really understand relationships, it gives you more options in scripting, but you could code everything you need to do for the most part in FileMaker at a very basic level, following these basic steps without understanding relationships, because you can copy a value, go to a layout, and do a search for it. If you were coding in a flat file data system or some system where it wasn't a relational database, these are exactly the same techniques you would use. Like if you were doing you know, if you were programming in C or BASIC or pick another language. But the idea is that if you can capture a value in a variable, go somewhere and do a search for that, you don't have to go through the relationship to make it work. It's just another tool in their toolbox, right? If you're a brand new person, this is gold. If you're a more advanced person, then you use the go-to related record, and then of course everyone has ideas about. And then Ed outdid me on something. I have to back. I need a fact check. This is CNN. We're going to fact check. Ed, we're going to fact check you. Any other questions as your plane is taxiing? You know, you land the airplane and you're rolling down the taxiway and you already hear the seatbelts clicking, right? It's like, please stay seated, passengers. You're not allowed to get up and move around the cabin. We're still taxiing the airplane.
What script numbers did you do today? Because people are going to get the file and then realize that it's not just the scripts that we're talking about. So do you want to pull up
scripts you
and
want to hang
show...
out real quick is the scripts you want to reference are scripts. They are, you've got 1236, 1237, and 1240. And I thought there was another one in there too, but I don't know where it went. So 1236 and 1237 were, oh, did I get rid of the one? Oh, I might have done that yesterday. Okay, that's nice. 1230, the 1230, whatever the one yesterday where it would do omit, and that we reverse the order. We covered that in the video, but this is the one from yesterday, essentially, the one that preserves the creation order. Then I had the prep where I prepped the live stream today for the GTR to make sure I was totally copacetic with it. And then this is the one that we did in flight together, which has more comments in it. Okay. Cool. All right, everyone. Well, hopefully there it is. Coding mechanics example. Coding mechanics example. Margaret, bang that out.
Does it work? I clicked. Did
you test it? Did it work?
It works. Says it works. Cool.
All right, there you go. Free software too. Free training, free software. Don't forget to support the channel. Buy a bundle or buy 5 of them for your best friends. We all appreciate it. All right, everyone, have a good one. See you later.
No.